CUTV attends a conference on the 1919 Winnipeg General Strike hosted by the Socialist Fightback Club of Concordia.
Yeah, well, I guess it's, like you said, it's like 93 years ago or 94 years ago almost now. But I believe that the period we're in now, if you look around the world, you're having the movements in Egypt against the dictatorships, strikes. I don't know how many general strikes they've had in Greece now in the past couple of years. You've had maybe upwards of 30. And actually, those general strikes have failed too. They didn't achieve any. They haven't achieved their aims. They're still implementing austerity. You're having massive austerity implemented all around the world, and workers are starting to learn that we have to do something like serious. That's why you're having these mass spontaneous movements like Occupy, things like this. Idle No More is a good example of this sort of outrage in society that's been built up over a long time. Meanwhile, while the quote-unquote 1% have been enriching themselves, we're being expected to take cuts and austerity. So.
Absolutely. I think throughout our history, which is a history that we're not taught in high school, we're not taught in university, there's always been these slave revolts. We are basically the modern-day slaves. And we've seen these revolts throughout our history, whether we're talking about Winnipeg, whether we're talking about Russia, Spain, we're talking about France. And across our history, there's always been the issue of how do we transform these struggles into a victory for us and a transformation of society. And in every strike, what happens is that the entire economy shuts down, the entire society stops, and nothing moves. Not a wheel turns, not a light bulb shines. And we realize we are the ones that make this entire world run, right? And then we begin to actually say, okay, well, you know what? Ambulances still have to go. Food still has to be served, and people still have to be clothing themselves, and heat still has to run. And we begin to organize and coordinate all of that. This is what all the strike committees in history have done. This is what happened in France. This is what happened in Winnipeg. And that is basically the beginnings of a new society. But it means we need to understand that has to be our goal. A new society where we democratically decide what we are going to do with our economy, what we're going to do with our resources, and how we're going to run ourselves. But that is something that requires a struggle, a revolutionary struggle. And so we should be studying these movements. And I myself, I make that a task. I'm a member of an organization called the International Marxist Tendency. If you're looking for more information, you can check out marxist.qc.ca or marxist.ca in English. And you can look more into that. And what we're trying to do is understand from history and begin to really prepare ourselves politically, because the ruling class prepares their youth from the very time that they send them to boarding school to be politicians. But our youth are not prepared with the history of our general strikes and our movements and how to change society. That's not something that we're taught. We have to teach ourselves.